Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 17th of July. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and well, at the moment it's having a little bit of a pullback, but last week we ended up closing up on a bullish pivot swing there. Looking at the shorter time frames here, and well, you see there was certainly a downward trend for a large part of last week, sort of early to midweek running through. And then we saw that definitely broken on Friday. Whether it will continue to this upside, we'll see. Just looking at this hourly picture, just to actually watch what's happening here. There's a daily and weekly pivot just below us now. We're pretty close to that. I'd watch the action down to, if it comes down to that, and if we get some reversal around this point, I would be looking to see if we get a continuation of the highs. Last week we didn't quite see the highs breaking, or this morning we haven't quite seen those highs breaking the previous highs here, the recent highs back in early July or mid-July there. But we'll see how it runs up. It's certainly got the potential. It's put some higher lows in, high highs, and just see how this runs up. There was probably minor divergence in these initial sort of moves back up through the late part of Friday and into Sunday, but as I say, need to see how this runs out. This morning, though, as I said, we'll be watching to see if it gets back to these double pivots here and the reaction to the double pivots if it does so. Okay, let's have a look at the pound. Oops, okay. So the pound dollar, well, the pound had a good old shove up on Friday. Really did push on. Good solid pivot swing on the Thursday. Friday, as I said, followed through. Strong market. Sitting there now, again, we've got weekly pivot below us. In fact, the daily pivot's below as well. So there's potential for it to roll over. Certainly looks stronger than the euro at the moment. I'll come back to this weekly pivot, weekly pivot 4-hourly view. You see the break, it was sort of pushed up and passed on earlier in the week and pushed on upwards ever from then onwards, and it really does look, as I say, stronger. It's broken the prior highs here that are in view, and well, we'll see if it gets back, but it's certainly statistically, of course, we've got the probability of the daily and weekly pivots being hit on the pound. We just have to watch how this reacts this morning. At the moment, though, it's finding support into the 21s. A breakthrough of these will see me target that at least that daily pivot and watch what's going from here. We've got very little news out, or nothing of significance, I should say, today. We've got the final CPI figures coming out, which will affect the euro possibly, but very minor in terms of price reaction, because we've already seen a lot of data come out on inflation in Europe. Yeah, there's nothing else there that's significant to create volatility until tomorrow in the news front. Okay, let's have a look at the dollar yen then. Dollar yen, again, some strengthening here. I'm noticing the COT report, some unwinding of short positions. Maybe we could see some correction here further. At the moment, it's seeing a bounce, of course. I say of course, but we often see this on the Monday with the pivots above us. There's the weekly pivot and daily pivot just being touched here, so both got a reasonable chance of being hit. Again, if we see the other markets running down, we should see this pushing up maybe towards that weekly pivot. But at the moment, the yen looks strong to me. As I said, there's a bit of a shift on short positions being closed on the COT report, and it may be that traders are expecting some more downside. And when I say traders, I mean more the institutional stroke hedge funds. Okay, Aussie dollar had a hell of a great time of late. Friday was no exception. It's been getting these greater and bigger candles here on the daily basis, but all good things may come to an end, and today may be a bit of an end for that. In short term, perhaps, we'll see. As I said, with most of these markets, we've got pivots, new pivots. So again, looking down to the hourly here, we've got the daily and weekly pivots below, and they may may provide targets if we start seeing a proper break of trend. Now we are fighting or I say we're fighting, the Aussie's fighting with the 21 moving average at the moment, exponential 21 moving there. If it breaks that, well, um, it could see a bigger correction. Again, there was a bit of divergence into late Friday evening there. Maybe just signaling a bit more of a sell-off here, but we'll see. As I said, it's had a good run of late. And finally, let's have a look at the Canadian dollar. In fact, I just want to, as ever, need to have a quick look at oil. What's going on with oil here? Pushing back. Okay, it's back near the $47 mark, which is all good for the Canadian dollar. And we've seen this all through last couple of weeks. Actually, just continued. It's ignored largely because of the expected interest rate, which we saw last week, and it's well, it's consolidated for a large time since then. Arguably, there was some early divergence into late Friday's session now on that 4 hourly, but it ran through it a little bit. Now, well, got weekly pivots above us and daily pivots yet to be hit again, so the draw may be a bit of a correction, but none of these markets have done it, and it's sometimes, well, they may all miss for today. Depends on strength or weakness of the US dollar. At the moment, though, we're not too far of breaking that 21 moving average. If it does, well, the daily pivot certainly, and maybe even if it just gets up to the 50 today, we'll see how it runs out. It may be a biggish ask, but may run back towards that 50, maybe a bit more. Any sell-off of the lows here, well, just got to look back into the or sell off a breakdown of this trend that's rising, I should say. May see us sell back towards the lows, maybe more. It's extreme right at those lows. It's sat in that extreme period for quite some time. As I say, maybe we'll see a move back towards that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Nothing else to mention. As I say, news-wise, there's hardly anything. So I wish you a great day. Bye for now.